Welcome to another powerful conversation in the Hidden to Heard series, where we honor the untold and beautifully real stories of women who lead from the heart. Today, I'm truly excited to welcome Anastasia Chikezie, whose work is rooted in natural hair education and mentorship. And I have to add this, Anastasia and I actually met on screen a couple of years ago. We were both in the BAFTA award-winning documentary White Nanny, Black Child. So welcome, 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 Anastasia.
Thanks so much, Abby. Yes, we were indeed part of the BAFTA multi-award winning White Nanny Black Child.
Yeah,
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
it was a real experience, wasn't it? I think what's beautiful is that, we've stayed in touch and here we are now. And here you are on the interview series of Hidden to Heard. So I just want to tell you a little bit more about Anastasia. So Anastasia Chikezie is a visionary entrepreneur and natural hair expert dedicated to celebrating the beauty of Afro and mixed textured hair. With over 35 years of experience, she founded Purely Natural, the salon Purely Natural Hair, advocating for self-love and representation in the hair industry. Anastasia's work extends globally as she mentors professionals, serves as a brand ambassador, and contributes to industry standards through organizations like HABIA. Wow. So we're going to dive straight in because I know that you've got a wealth of knowledge. Like, I can't quite believe that you've been in the industry 35 years because you don't look a day over 21. So here we go. So, Anastasia, you were pioneering in the 1990s when you launched your salon, Purely Natural. What inspired you to take that leap at that time?
Thank you for the great introduction, Abby. Thank you
Wow.
so much. And flattery gets you everywhere. Just see. Okay, so how I was inspired initially, which is a funny thing because I wasn't inspired. And I've said this before. For those that have heard me tell my story, they know that I wasn't inspired. To be honest, let's go all the way back.
Yeah,
Um, I'm the oldest daughter of a Nigerian family.
yeah.
They call that person Ada. I'm Ada, okay? And my family are academics. My dad's a doctor. My mother was a fashion designer. She actually, when she came to London, she attended London College of Fashion.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And my dad attended University College London to be a
Yeah.
doctor. So, being the oldest of four girls,
Hmm.
my role was to follow my dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
My role was to become a doctor. I also have the same initials as my dad, so it was entrenched in us quite earlier on that, we all have to follow our family, our parents' lead.
Yeah.
So my dad being a doctor, it was just common knowledge that I'd be a doctor.
Yeah.
So off the back of that, when I attended school and did my A and O and A levels, I think they were called. I'm not even sure what they were
Yeah.
back then because it's such a long time ago. I did all the sciences, so I did biology, chemistry, physics. I did maths, and my family just assumed that I'd become a doctor,
Yes.
following my dad's footsteps. So while I was attending uni, this is going back. This is going. This is going well, way, way, way back.
Way back.
When I was attending uni, I decided to cut my hair very, very short. It was just for ease,
Yeah.
easy to style. Off the back of that, people were stopping me. I was just doing small twists. People were stopping me and saying, "Who did your hair?"
Mm.
Of course, I did my own hair.
Yeah.
I was twisting as the hair was growing. I was twisting. Remember that I'm the oldest of four sisters.
Yes.
So I had to style their hair. So I think I just picked up skills along the way. So when I was
Mm.
at uni, people were stopping me, asking me about my hairstyles. In fact, they were asking if I could do their hair,
Okay.
which was a bit crazy because I'm like, I'm not a hairdresser. I'm at university, doing my, studies, and
Yeah.
if I could do their hair. Over time, I started to invite potential clients home. You know what? I've missed, Abby. I've missed something that's quite crucial. I was married by that time and had three small children.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was married at that time, and I had three small children. My When I told my husband that I was bringing clients home, or wanted to bring clients home
Yeah.
to do their hair, he wasn't entirely happy about it. Obviously, we were living in a very small flat.
Yes.
We were very young. He wasn't happy about it, and then he said to me, who he was also a barber, and he
Yeah.
said, "Why don't you bring the clients to the barber salon?"
Right.
Which I did. And I thought, I got a chair in there.
Yeah.
I started to bring people into the salon in the evenings during the summer holidays. I started to do their hair. Like I said, it was more twists,
Yeah.
eventually locking,
Yeah. But
cutting.
all natural. It back then in the all natural back then in the 90s.
Yes.
Hmm.
Our liberty was natural, to be fair. So we were vegans. We were eating quite healthily. Myself, my husband, and my children were eating quite healthily. So our liberty was very natural. It
Yeah.
only made sense that, I just follow through and do. My hair was natural. The products we were using on our skin were natural at the time.
Yes.
It's only it only made sense that we'd follow through. And the clients that I brought into the salon were inquiring about natural hairstyles, which, to be honest, I don't think there were any salons during that time that were doing
No.
that kind of service. So when I brought them into the salon, I was twisting, braiding, locking. I did a little bit of research myself, making
Yeah.
sure that I was on top of all the natural hairstyles. Until eventually, by the time I finished uni 4 years later, I had full team, a full team of stylists. Can you believe it? And
Wow.
yeah,
Incredible.
and it just made sense to continue that. You know, I left uni and I went straight into the hair salon. But remember, Abby, I wasn't from that background, so I didn't have my hairdressing qualification or anything like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was finding my feet every single day. I was finding my feet and just trying to figure it out as it, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Employing people wasn't part of my education. I didn't even know how to employ.
Yes.
Didn't know about training for stylists. I didn't know anything. But in fact, there was nothing out there. There was
Yeah.
nothing out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
over time, I started to take trips to America, and in my opinion, America was very, they were, the head and shoulders ahead of
Absolutely.
hairstyling and the
Yeah.
hairstyling techniques, back then. So I went to America and I started to do courses in America and bring it back to the salon in London.
Right.
But the emphasis was on natural hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my liberty. That was everything I knew, everything I did was all about the natural, eating
Yeah.
natural, products were natural, everything was natural. So that was how I fell into it. So that's
Yeah.
saying you know,
Yeah.
I fell into being a natural hairdresser.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
over time, I started to get passionate about it. When
Mm.
I was getting results, when I realized that no one else was doing it, when
Yes.
I realized the salon was packed at
Yeah.
a point. You know, people were talking about there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Then I started to do a bit more research, and I built up a passion for natural hairdressing.
Yeah.
How I
Yeah.
fell into it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was no one out there doing it, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we were
Beautiful.
doing it and doing it very well.
Yeah. And what I love about that,
Mhm.
thank you for just building up so people can actually see where you were coming from in terms of, your very humble start. You had three small children, you were married, you were also studying at uni, you
Yeah.
started off with your husband's barber, and it grew from there. So to me, it feels like hair found you. It was like, you're not going to escape. Natural hair found you. And you've been going, ever since and expanding. And I guess my next question is, as a mentor and an educator, because I know that you're passionate about education, Like, what have been some of the most significant challenges that you've faced while advocating for like self-love of our hair representation, and like how have you navigated those experiences?
Oh gosh, there were a lot of challenges. Like I said, I was in the hair salon in the early 90s,
Yeah,
and promoting natural hair, promoting self-love, promoting our hair, promoting
yes,
good, healthy hair. And there was one particular client. There's quite a few clients came in with challenges, to be honest. And there was
yeah,
a particular client, and I remember cultivating his locks. He came in inquiring about locks. We cultivated them. Spent years. He had beautiful, beautiful locks.
mm,
And if I remember correctly, he was a student back then, studied
yeah,
law.
yeah,
Eventually, he did his law degree. He passed with flying colours. And a couple of years later, he came and he said that he wants to become a barrister. But he was
mm.
advised to cut his locks. Yeah, he was advised that if he wanted to do well, he had to cut his locks. Now, it was quite a painful experience for him because I remember he broke down and cried. Um, yeah, he
Yeah,
broke down and cried. We spoke through it. There was no advice that I could offer at the time because he's the pull or the draw towards becoming a barrister was very strong.
of
So
course.
we cut his locks. I remember cutting them one by one, taking my time and
Wow.
talking him through it, but it was very, very emotional. I'd like to say that that was, an isolated story, but unfortunately, during my time in the hairdressing industry, um, back then, it wasn't an isolated
Yeah,
story. You know,
yeah,
it was, in fact, it was more of the norm. People,
yes,
yeah, cultivating their locks or natural hair and then having to cut it or tame it, especially if they wanted to get involved in the corporate industries,
yeah,
So that was quite, and it has been a big deal for me, quite a pivotal moment, you know. It's a shame that people have felt that they had to conform in terms of how they wear their hair in order
yeah,
to do well in
yeah.
their chosen industries or chosen disciplines. Um, uh, you know what? I'd like to say it's changed.
Has it?
Has
Yeah.
it?
Has
Hasn't?
it changed?
No,
It hasn't
it
changed.
hasn't. It hasn't moved far from, like I said, 30 odd
Mm,
years ago. We're still fighting the fight, and these Eurocentric ideas of beauty are still paramount when
yeah,
it comes to working, especially within the corporate industry. I think we get a little leeway if we're working in the arts or the creative industry. We get,
yeah, absolutely.
but if you're working in corporate, it's a big deal that you have to look like you're trying to conform in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that was one of if not the major challenge, cultivating beautiful natural hair, whether it's in locks or loose afros,
Yes.
um, and having to cut it or
Yeah.
tame it or wear a wig, when they get involved or get the job of their dreams.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for sharing that because it must be such a challenge because you're working towards the job of your dreams or the career of your dreams, and yet there's part of you because our hair is such is our crown. Like it's, it is our crown. It's how we are seen, and it's part, not all of our beauty. And then suddenly you have to you have to conform to something that isn't really you,
That's right.
so there's parts of you going into this new world you're already being suppressed through the hair. And we could probably have a whole nother interview and conversation about that, but I just think it's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Actually, the needle hasn't really shifted that much over the past 30 years.
Not at all.
And
Can I just say as well, Abby? I'm sorry
yeah,
to you. Even lack of knowledge, education. I mean, it's only recently that we've, updated our hairdressing standards. But for years, you couldn't go anywhere in terms of educational body to learn how to look after and cultivate natural hair. for years.
Really? So it
Oh, yeah.
wasn't written in any kind of
No,
learning books or standards or anything like that?
not at all. I mean, you introduced me in the beginning by saying, I was part of HABIA, which I was, and this was many, many years ago, but it's taken so this long to implement natural hair care, natural hairstyles into our, educational system, which is why? Why is it taking so long?
Yeah, it's
So,
wild, actually, isn't it? That
yeah,
it's um
education and knowledge. It's a big conversation. And
yeah,
like huge, even it's so big, we probably have to have a conversation, just about that at a
yeah.
later date. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for updating. And it leads me on to my next question because I know that you are a true educational advocate. And part of the work that you've done, yes, for maybe brands, but also off of your own back that's been self-funded, is you also visit countries in Africa and you talk about, so you're not just doing the work here in the UK, as you said at the beginning, that your work is global. So tell us a little bit about how how that started and why you felt that you actually wanted to do that part of work.
yes. So very early on, I was discovered by a few major brands. I'm not going to call their names.
Sure.
And I was taken on as the main natural hair educator. And I was fortunate enough to be flown out every other month or so to go to places like Africa, Europe, Dubai, America to
Mm,
educate natural hair practices, healthy hair practices.
yes.
And one trip that stood out for me was when I went back to Africa, when I went to Nigeria, in fact.
Yeah.
And this was the first time in a very long time that I had the privilege of going to Nigeria.
Mm,
I remember I was asked to do a trade fair. So there's me. Can you envision me with my white coat? I did a big marketing campaign surrounding that. Anastasia Chikezie, natural hair expert, was coming to Nigeria,
yes.
and I was able to do consultations, to
Mhm.
analyze and diagnose hair and scalp disorders, diseases, and so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
one thing that stood out for me was the lack of education. I was saying things that to me were pretty basic. Like, for example, I had a few people come up and they were saying that they were relaxing their hair, perming their hair, but only half of their head. Because
Yeah.
that part was being exposed. The rest of the hair was tucked away, but half of the head, especially the hairline,
Mm,
putting strong chemicals on the hairline just to have that smooth appearance.
yeah.
They were doing it, consistently, maybe once or twice a week sometimes. And
Wow.
yeah, and then we're in the queue, and I'm wondering, and when I got to them, and I was saying, "What's going on with your hair?" And they were wondering why the hair had broken, they had chemical burns, the hair
Yeah.
was growing. There was a lot of alopecia cases. So people were, I'm sure you've seen,
Yeah. Yeah.
hairline starting in the middle of their head, and when I was explaining to them that, you can't, for example, do too tight hairstyles, so you've got to be very mindful. The hair at the front of the
Mhm.
head is a lot finer, is a lot weaker. They genuinely didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They looked at me like they genuinely didn't know that the tight hairstyles was pulling the hair out from the follicle.
Yeah.
Over time, the follicle closes, you get, scarring, alopecia, and the hair doesn't grow back. They genuinely
Yeah.
didn't know what was
Yeah.
causing it. So that for me was a big surprise.
Mm.
Obviously it's down to lack of education. So can you imagine going to these stores and just picking up boxes of relaxers and not knowing how to apply them and not knowing how
Yeah. Yeah.
to look after hair that had been chemically processed. So
Yeah.
education for me that became the most, if yeah, the most important thing, for me.
Yes.
Yeah, it became the most important thing. Every time I was asked to fly out, it was the most important thing, just education, education,
Yeah.
education. So off the back of that, my friends and family know that I love Gambia. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
Gambia. Just brings me peace.
Yeah.
So when I'm stressed, I go to Gambia. So on my one of my journeys, trips to Gambia, I realized that, Gambia is as beautiful as it is. There's people out there plaiting hair, which is quite traditional to us on the street,
Yes.
plaiting hair.
Mm.
I'm still without the lack of education. So I self-funded myself to go to Gambia. I
Mm.
approached, there was one academy in particular. I approached the owner and she welcomed me.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, I was going to Gambia and educating, my goodness. And it brought so much peace. It brought me so much, I just felt love
yeah,
from,
yeah,
from the young women there.
yeah,
It was the best thing, and continues to be the best thing ever. Just going out to Africa and educating people,
yeah,
healthy
yeah,
habits,
yeah.
which to me and to a lot of people here, it's
Mhm.
it's, it's common knowledge, but unfortunately, that knowledge is not getting to certain parts of Africa, which is quite close to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for sharing and for continuing doing this work because, like you said, you know, healthy hair isn't done in isolation. It's wherever there are black and brown people, we need to know truly how to look after our hair. And that comes with knowledge that you share, because not everybody has that knowledge, as you've said. And also for you to take yourself to self-fund your own trips and to do that work with those women, knowing that it will have a ripple effect through the women, through the daughters' daughters. That's legacy work,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right there. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so, Anastasia, this series, as you know, is called Hidden to Herd.
Mm.
And I'd just love for you to share a time when you felt hidden and what helped you step into being fully heard in your life and I guess in your work.
I Great, great, great question, Abby. The time I felt hidden was going back to my upbringing when I was growing up
Yes,
and deciding to, instead of instead of being a doctor,
yes,
decision to become a hairdresser. My family called me a black sheep. I think they still call
yeah,
me a black sheep, to be fair. Like I said, I'm from a family of academics,
yes,
and I felt hidden at that point. I remember when my family were introducing my siblings, and it was, as you know, being a Nigerian, education is very important. When they were introducing
absolutely.
and the jobs that they were doing, they were quite proud. But I felt like when they were introducing me to family members or anybody, they weren't so pleased that
Yeah,
I'd become a hairdresser. Um, it was a very, very sad time for me.
yeah,
It's only when I started to win awards for what I do,
yeah,
I felt like I'd been acknowledged.
yes,
Yeah, I felt that I'd been acknowledged, that I had arrived.
yes.
My mother always said that and even up to this day, she calls me stubborn. She says, Ifoma, you're very stubborn. If I say go to the left, you go to the right. Go to the right, you go to the left. And she calls me stubborn. I know she calls me stubborn because of my chosen career path.
Yeah,
You know, she says I don't listen. So that for me was when I felt like I was hidden. And
yeah,
now that I'm winning awards and you know
yeah,
I feel like I'm being heard finally by my family,
yeah,
mainly by my family, because we all want to make our families proud, don't we?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so mainly by my family. I feel like I'm now being respected for my
yeah,
chosen, career path,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I fell into, by the way, but which I am immensely proud of. And
yeah,
if I could turn the clock back, I'll do everything exactly the same way. I'm very passionate about healthy hair. And that's another thing. My mum, she says, oh, I've got locks.
yes,
You're a rasta. And yeah, that was frowned on for
yes,
wearing locks.
yeah,
uh, uh,
yeah,
because in Africa, Nigeria especially, you had locks. Back in the day, you had locks. It's either you were a musician or
yes,
you had lost your mind.
yeah,
That's it. Those are the only people that wore locks
yeah,
back
yeah,
then. you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm proud of the leaps and bounds I've made, you know, in my chosen career path.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And what I love about what you've just shared there is, the family and the expectation of the family, but you actually following your own path and continuing to forge the way today. And many people, you've actually been a role model, like for so many other salons now that are doing what you're doing. Like, but you were the pioneer. You started that. You
Yes,
started that whole movement over 30 years ago. And I think that takes courage and that takes resilience, and especially having like the Nigerian family framework and still doing that, that shows how strong you were and are in your own foundation. And that's one of the things that I love many things about you, but that's one of the things that I love about you, Anastasia, is that you will not, unless you're going to do it, you'll trailblaze it and you will make it work. You're not listening to those people outside of you, which is why you're still here and still flourishing over 35 years later.
I know, my goodness, you know. But I'm one of those, I always say I love challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all about the challenge. And also, I've got this superwoman cape. Once I
Yeah.
put that cape on,
Yes.
I don't care who's in front of me, I'm going to break through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bring it on. Once I've got my superwoman cape on, I'm like, bring it on. Bring,
Yes.
yeah, let's see what you've got, you know.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the challenges, and to be known as a trailblazer for doing something that I love, my goodness, to be known as a pioneer, that
Yes.
wasn't the plan, never has been the plan. I'm honored to take on,
Yeah.
to be known as that, but
Yeah.
it was never the plan. I just get up and do what I need to do every morning. When I go to work, when I do the consultations, I offer free consultations, and I love it. I love helping people, and especially when it comes to hair, like you said, hair,
Yes.
hair is our crown, it's our beauty. And I just love imparting knowledge if it's going to help someone to love their hair, to love who they are. After
Yeah.
all, natural hair, it's our hair, it's our birthright. It grows from our scalp, doesn't it? We're
Yeah.
trying to, we're not, I'm not trying to promote anything that isn't innate to us, that's natural to us. It grows from our scalp. We just need to learn to love who we are, as a people, our skin, our hair, So imparting that knowledge for me, it's one of the best things. And like I said, to be known as a trailblazer for doing that, it's like I said, I think I've said this to you, Abby. I have this, sometimes I'm like, are they talking about me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
You
I
know,
do. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I give thanks. I give thanks every day. But yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm.
And my last question. So looking towards the future, Anastasia, like
Mhm.
what impact do you hope to make through your work? I mean, you've already made impact and you continue to. But what impact do you hope to make through your work with Purely Natural, your hair salon, SAS Hair Academy, and any like other endeavors that you're involved in? Like, I guess, what is the legacy that you'd love to leave the next generation of women leaders in your field?
I would like to leave. I think it's important that we have unwavering dedication to natural hair and to the cause of natural hair. I'd like My vision is to have an academy, maybe somewhere in Africa. I've said
Yeah.
this to my kids. I've said this to my grandchildren. I want to have an academy where
Yes.
people can come in, anybody from all walks of life can come in and learn the basis of natural hair, how it grows, how to nurture it, just the basis, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to leave that legacy of natural hair salon, natural hair academy, sorry, in Africa somewhere. It's important that we learn to collaborate as well. I
Yes.
cannot take away the fact that I collaborated with, some major hair brands. I was lucky.
Yes.
I was lucky to collaborate with these major hair brands, and they were able to, to broaden my horizon, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
And travel, which I wouldn't have been able to do under normal
Yeah.
circumstances. I got to travel and just open my eyes to,
Yeah.
what was going on in and around the world in relation to the natural hair movement. So
Yeah.
collaboration is important. Also, we must remember to lean on digital technology, you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, Instagram, TikTok, use those spaces to educate yourself and the next generation. Back in the 90s, we didn't have tech. We didn't have tech. We didn't
No.
have Instagram.
No.
I think back then we had something called MySpace. I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my days.
you
Yeah.
remember MySpace,
Yes, I do remember.
right? But it wasn't as
No, nothing like this.
nothing the
No.
way Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Use those platforms to promote yourself, to promote your brand.
Yeah.
People like to see. We've even got young people coming into the salon. Believe this, Abby, right? Young people coming into the salon
Yeah.
with their products, and they're like, "I would like to wash my hair. Have you got a wide tooth comb? I have a range of products that I use that don't contain chemicals, parabens." And we're talking about these are 11-year-olds.
Wow.
That not the knowledge, the
Yeah.
knowledge
Amazing.
on how to cultivate healthy natural hair. So use these platforms. It's important. Young people are our future.
Yeah.
This is the future we're talking about. And once we educate the young people of the future, then we're going to go places.
Yeah.
So that's so important. And prioritize teaching. That should be top of our goal of anybody's list. That should be the main goal. Prioritize teaching, education.
Yeah.
When it comes to healthy hair practices.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of those gems that you've just shared. And so if anybody wants to find out more about you, Anastasia, where can they find you on your socials?
On my social, so I've got the salon is called Purely Natural.
Mm-hmm.
The website is www.purelynaturalhair.com. I've also got TikTok, Purely Natural Hair.
Okay.
You can Google me, I guess, Anastasia Chikezie. Um, and yeah,
Yeah.
those are the main
Beautiful.
platforms. Oh, and that Facebook, Purely Natural.
And Facebook. And what we'll do, anyways, we'll put all of your links under the show notes so
Mm.
that if people do want to find you and connect with you, that they can do it from there. And I'd just like to say,
Can I
it's
just
been
say one thing?
you can say one
I
more thing.
forgot to mention the salon, Purely Natural Salon, which is coming up on Google as the first and main salon for natural hair. So Purely Natural Salon,
Okay.
East London. Okay, so you can pop in and see us anytime. If you're not
Okay.
sure about what you want, that's fine. Just pop in. If you're in the area, pop in.
Come in and see you.
Come and see me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much. What a rich tapestry of information that you shared. And really just, from your humble beginnings to where you are now. Yeah, I think it's quite incredible. And I love that you are still going and growing and are involved in, different things, but all under the theme of education and mentorship. So thank you for being a guest on the Hidden to Heard series. It's been an honor. And
Thanks for having me, Abby.
you're more than welcome.